Resident Evil 4 is the series' turning point. After it is New Re, before it is Classic Re. The differences are huge. First, the player camera. 40:0:0:0:14,000, 66, 0:0:19,932 earlier Re used fixed angles or follow cameras. So your view while searching was very limited. And constant angle cuts got direction lost players stuck. Re 4 is different, camera stays over left most of the time, TPS style. First, it boosts immersion. Second, it's easier than FPS to track what's around you. And the camera shake isn't too extreme. So motion-sick players feel better. The second big difference is the story. Umbrella is gone, so T-Virus, Tyrants, and BOWS can't keep being made, so the enemy concept changes. Like introducing parasites as the infection source. Their types, stages, and outcomes are nothing like T or G. Third is the shop and drop system. Killing enemies, breaking props, even chickens can drop loot. Ammo, heals, gems, and more. Classic Re had drops too. True, but Re 4's drop rates are way higher. Of course, except on the highest difficulty. Also, Re 4 first introduces the merchant NPC. No matter how heroic you are, after a death match, turn a corner. And a shady guy waits under a tiny orange lamp to take your hard-earned gold. If you have money and space, buy whatever weapons and ammo you want. Plus you can always pick up ammo on the road. So supplies feel abundant. Compared with Classic Re's position and puzzle clears. Re 4's tank push is a key reason the horror drop. And add the camera change I mentioned earlier. The old hardcore puzzles became a pick-up-and-play shooter. So it pulled in a massive wave of new Re fans. That's one big reason the reboot succeeded. Okay, enough mechanics, let's look at the plot. The story takes place in a small village in Western Europe. From the locals' language, it's likely somewhere in Spain. Stage 2 is the landlord's estate, comes with a castle, kind of insane. It even has royal roaming contraptions. Main enemies are uniformed cultists. Stage 3 is the island nearby, mostly parasite-infected mercenaries. Well, get into that after the main story. So, I mentioned the cultists, there's a lot to say. First, they worship Los Iluminados, led by the big boss. In the lore, it's an ancient Western European religion. The goal, be the boss and control all humanity. Long before Re 4, the cult once ruled this land. Then one day, a young man overthrew the church and took its power. He built a huge castle and buried a parasite called Plaga underground. And later lords kept the old rule. They tightly guarded the gate to the underground. Once in a body, it clings to the central nervous system. From in-game documents, we learn it comes in dominant and subordinate types. Inject yourself with dominant Plaga, then inject others with subordinate Plaga. And with a push, they'll obey you. But did that young man use it against Los Iluminados? The game gives no direct clue. On the other hand, even if the cult was uprooted, it wasn't wiped out, remnants still linger. So reviving the cult became their top mission. They prepared in the shadows for years. Until they met the 8th castle lord in this story. That short guy on screen, Salazar. People might think it's odd, so short, like a kid. But why the pale, wrinkled face? Well, explain later. From the butler's letter, we learn The eighth lord is 20 years old, with no family. When Sadler heard that, he pitched the cult hard how great it is, join and you'll love it. No once, no twice, third time, he caved. After rounds of brainwashing, Salazar thought the cult was amazing. He decided the previous lords were complete idiots for burying something this powerful underground. From today on, I, the eighth lord, will cleanse my sins. He and the faithful went down to dig it up. First, to repay the ancestors' sins. Second, to help Sadler build a world with no sinners. So he opened the gate under the castle dig. When they hit it, they were stunned. The Plagas stored underground had already fossilized. 28. So how do you revive this? Then Luis, a 28-year-old biologist, returned home. Sadler immediately hired him to study the fossils. In the files, Lewis notes 1 reveals Lewis' early hypothesis while studying the parasite. It's long, so here are 2 condensed lines. First, the parasite grows in stages. Second, once it controls a host's mind, it drives the host to find the next transmission route. Like forcing fish to the surface to be eaten by seabirds, then controlling the birds. He had some conclusions, but with a fossil in front of him, everything above was still just a guess. No live sample, no way to prove anything. Then one day, the villagers who dug up the fossils all went red-eyed and started attacking people. After examining one controlled villager, Luis concluded they were already parasitized by Plaga. Turns out the adult Plaga had fossilized. But these scheming parasites found a way to survive. They buried their larvae like spores in nearby soil and rock. They went dormant, waiting to be unearthed. So the villagers likely inhaled spores during excavation. They grew inside, matured, and took control of them. And the sly Sadler also got his hands on dominant Plaga in the process. With villagers controlled, he kept pulling more people into the digging. When Luis wrote this diary, the digging was still ongoing. He wrote, "Who knows how many Plaga will be awakened? Not to mention all the villagers it infected. I must stop this right now, or the whole world will be victimized by this insane cult." Meanwhile, Luis realized he might have been injected with larvae without knowing. His obsession probably made the church suspicious. So using his research, he made an anti-parasite drug. He killed the larvae before they could develop. You can see this clue in Salazar's notes. Normally, Luis would call the police here. But he knew the cult local cops were either useless or bribed, so they couldn't be trusted. Out of options, he emailed a college friend for help. He fully recorded Plaga data and the cult structure, hoping his fellow biologist could convince the government to send a cleanup team. On the other side, Wesker and a DAS organization also watched in secret. Plaga can control and be controlled. So they really wanted it. But with no samples, they could only speculate about its behavior. And then, by pure coincidence, Ada intercepted Lewis' email to his old classmate. Every parameter was in it. You can see this in a DAS report too. After Ada told Luis who she was, he practically begged for witness protection. In his email, Luis said, "I don't want any ties to Plaga or this idiot cult anymore. I want out just a quiet life." So they struck a deal. Luis gets protection, and he delivers a dominant Plaga sample. And I guarantee the cult will never find you again. Okay, deal made. Ada knew the cult has zero tolerance for Luis defecting with a sample. To keep it smooth, she had to go in personally. When Ada reported this to Wesker, Wesker said, "Good timing, but you can't go alone. I'll send Krauser undercover to earn the cult's trust first. That way, even if your inside man fails, we have a backup." Wesker's move had one main purpose. He doesn't trust Ada or Krauser. Teamwork is just mutual surveillance. He's basically making them watch each other. Alright, because Ada intercepted Louis' SOS email, Wesker now knows the cult structure and goal. From the in-game file, the Chich's ultimate goal. The cult wants to use US global influence to fire the first shot of world domination. Step 1, control Congress, courts, agencies, the military, and more. Those power centers tie to the president, so kidnapping him is a multi-win. But it's not that simple. Also, after learning the situation, Wesker thought, Krauser can go undercover. But to truly gain Sadler's trust and get dominant Plaga, he needs a major bargaining chip. The president is impossible, but he has a daughter still in school. So Krauser would abduct Ashley right after school. Ship her to the village as an offering should be fine, right? Okay, they did it after the kidnapping succeeded. The US president made his move. Perfect timing. An agent under my direct command just finished training. He survived Raccoon City. This should be nothing. So Leon S. Kennedy got sent out the moment he left the training ground. Yes, Leon even says it's his first mission after training. Okay, and that's where the game officially begins. As the first entry of the new Re-era, Leon narrates a recap of the earlier games before gameplay starts. Most important is how he describes Umbrella. He sums it up in basically 2 lines like the US banned Umbrella. Under heavy restrictions, Umbrella just went over. Classic Re fans were totally baffled. Chris said he'd take Umbrella down to the very end. Meanwhile, that Umbrella stock crash I mentioned last time, and Wesker stealing data and anonymously mailing it to an international court, was only explained later in the Umbrella Chronicles, released after Re4. It was only clarified in the Umbrella Chronicles, released after Re4. So back then, first-time Re4 players all thought Umbrella would make some big move in this game. But 2 lines and a multinational giant is gone. Anyone would be stunned. After Leon finishes, the screen shows 6 years later, 2004. Leon, directly ordered by the president, is led by local police to that village I mentioned. Why assume Ashley is being held here? Because a tip claims someone saw Ashley around here. But whether it's true, Leon has to check himself.
Excuse me. Sir? I was wondering if you might recognize the girl in this photograph?
¿Qué carajo estás haciendo aquí? ¡Lárgate, cabrón!
Sorry to have bothered you.
Freeze! I said freeze!
In this game, someone basically guides you directly. Just listen to Hunnigan on the radio calling location SOP. Per Hunnigan, ignore that villager's condition for now. Go rescue Ashley. Use any necessary force in an emergency. No words, just fighting and killing. Once in the village, you get chased into a house and surrounded. Killing doesn't help you, just wait for the church bell. When it rings, the villagers all stop what they're doing. They think Los Iluminados has new instructions again, so they rush into a building on the other side and lock the door.
Lord Sattler.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Since that door can't be opened yet, Leon wanders the village for clues. He finds a file about recent martial law in the village. Turns out Chief Mendez already knew Leon was active nearby. But Leon shows up right as they're about to brainwash the president's daughter. So there must be a mole. And he also sensed a third party in the mix. For convenience, he kept Ashley in an old house by the farm. Okay, no time to waste. Leon storms the place with just a small pistol.
A little rough, don't you think? You're not like them?
No. You?
Okay, I have only one very important question. You got a smoke?
Got gum.
Perfect. The big cheese.
What?
Let us give you our power. Soon, you will become unable to resist this intoxicating power.
As said at the start, Luis had already contacted Ada for rescue. But now Luis and Leon are both tied up. And Leon has also been implanted with a parasite. So can they escape safely? And who is that big guy? Ashley was supposed to be Harry, so why is she gone now? Okay, since RE4's plot is so long, we'll cover the rest in the next Resident Evil episode.